1960, Japan was a bitterly divided nation with a very uncertain future.
Flash of the lights and shouting, where it was the revolution. Never in our history had that kind of thing before or since.
To understand Japan's economic power is to understand its political system and the deals made to unite a divided nation. In 1960, the party in power was the conservative LDP. It was run by Prime Kishi, a man who had been jailed as a war criminal during the American occupation. Kishi owed his comeback to his pre-war contacts with big business and his skill at backroom deals.
He was the Japanese version of the savvy old Paul, who was very conscious of his high position. The Japanese have an old slogan, Kanson Minpi, revere the bureaucrat and despise the public. Well, that was Kishi all over.
The U.S.-Japan Security Treaty had scattered U.S. military bases and nuclear weapons throughout Japan. In 1960, when Kishi decided to renew the treaty, socialists and college students erupted in protest. Only 15 years after Hiroshima, they feared Japan could become the battlefield in a nuclear war with the Soviet Union.
The post-war student movement was basically anti-government. As war was still fresh in everyone's memory, it was also a statement that the people wanted to ensure that Japan would never fight another war. Since America had occupied and somewhat beyond Japan, the demonstrations also inevitably became anti-American.
Kishi and his LDP thought America's Cold War with the Soviet Union would benefit Japan. America would defend and support the Japanese while they focused on building their economy.
During the Cold War, Japan took advantage of and profited from American protection. It allowed for our economic prosperity.
This treaty represents an indestructible partnership between our two countries, in which our relations would be based on complete equality and mutual understanding.
Kishi signed the new security treaty in Washington, then invited Eisenhower to Japan. He promised the treaty would be ratified in time for his arrival. Kishi returned home to massive demonstrations outside the Diet, the Japanese parliament. Kishi was determined to pass the treaty before Eisenhower's visit. He used his political muscle to cut off debate. In desperation, socialist politicians, outflanked and bypassed by Kishi, tried to stop the treaty process by barricading the Speaker of the House in his office. Kishi sent in police to pull his parliamentary opponents out of the Diet building. Finally, the police were able to push the Speaker through the melee to the podium. The LDP seized the opportunity to take a sudden vote on the treaty. It passed overwhelmingly, since there were no socialists in the Diet chamber. Many saw Kishi's autocratic tactics as an attack on democracy. Students vented their anger on James Hagerty, the advancement for Eisenhower's visit. 5 days later, students launched a full-scale siege on the Japanese government itself.
Our joint demonstration because of the Kishi attitude toward Japanese people. He really tried to force it in a very undemocratic way. And that's another scale because we just started learning democracy. We are very happy. We wanted to make it more matured. But he's the one who decided to again sort of to bring in.
In the year's most violent riot, a young student was killed. Eisenhower canceled his visit. Kishi resigned in embarrassment just 5 days after the treaty was ratified. In angry speeches made during the election campaign of November 1960, the leader of the Socialists, Himejiro Asanuma, warned that the specter of pre-war Japan still haunted the nation. His vision was tragically real. Later. His assassination by a right-wing fanatic stunned the nation. It was a terrifying climax to a year filled with bitter conflict.